Here's something to think about. What if the world government's greatest weapon is actually its biggest weakness? Now, when I was making my last video, I thought about the Seraphim and how much the world government need them. And then I thought about some things that can really go south when it comes to the Seraphim. So in this video, we're diving into how the Seraphim, the supposed ultimate living weapons, might actually bring about the fall of the very system that created them. Now first, let's go over a quick reminder of who or what the Seraphim are to begin with. The Seraphim are the latest editions of the Pacifista for the world government and essentially serve as the replacements of the 7 warlords of the sea. They are genetically modified beings that carry Lunarian traits while also carrying the lineage factor of the 7 warlords that they replaced. This insane genetic pool gives the Seraphim incredible durability, speed, and power, and the abilities of the former warlords. But here's the thing, the lineage factor is essentially the blueprint of life itself. It's like the genetic code that allows Vegapunk to recreate abilities, personalities, and even loyalty within a target. Now, on its own, the creation of the Seraphim is a scientific feat that Vegapunk has under his belt. He essentially created life, and again, this is all thanks to the lineage factor. But the world government does not care about such miraculous feats. To them, the lineage factor is just another way to control power, and it's right here where you can see their weakness begin to take shape. Even though the Seraphim are outstanding military additions for the world government, they are actually ticking time bombs for disaster. I mean, they just cloned some of the strongest pirates that directly oppose them. The likes of Crocodile, Jimbei, Boa Hancock, and Mihawk were never truly loyal to the world government. In fact, they all kind of did their own thing, and those traits get carried over to their Seraphim counterparts because of the lineage factor. Now, I know Vegapunk engineered the Seraphim to be extremely obedient. The problem is the lineage factor may also carry traces of their original personalities or instincts, meaning rebellion isn't just possible, it's embedded in their DNA. But I don't think it stops there. We simply can't forget about Vegapunk. At the end of the day, he's the reason why the Seraphim even exist, and his past actions are proof that he's far from loyal to the world government. Vegapunk was disloyal enough to the world government to allow Bonnie, a 12-year-old girl, have the highest control over the Pacifista without the Gorosei even knowing. And that's not even his first act of rebellion. Paired with the fact that Vegapunk doesn't mind keeping secrets from everyone, including himself, who's to say that the Seraphim don't have something similar programmed within them? Now, I'm not suggesting the exact same preventative measures here, but a twist of this nature where critical information about the Seraphim is revealed and only through Vegapunk wouldn't surprise me. Now, throw in the chance of developing free will through their lineage factor and the Seraphim could go rogue easily. Now, let's talk about a lesser explored side of the story for a second. Let's talk about the Lunarians real quick. The Lunarians were first mentioned in chapter 1023 in a conversation between Sanji and Queen, and ever since then we've gained bits and pieces about their history. One of the more interesting facts about the Lunarians is their eradication at the hands of the world government. I'd like to think that Oda has some sort of idea of their full history in mind, but given how little room he has left to elaborate on Lunarian lore any further, I doubt he'd go this route. But lore is lore regardless if it happens on screen or not, so I'm gonna go that route. Adding Lunarian DNA gives the Seraphim unmatched survival ability. In fact, I would say the majority of their durability comes directly from the Lunarian heritage. As I mentioned earlier, this is a great addition to their already stacked set of traits, but this also ties them to a race that the world government attempted to wipe out. Now, there's probably no shot this happens, but let's use our imagination for a sec. What would happen if they discovered the truth about the Lunarians? From their perspective, their very existence would suddenly become a contradiction. The Seraphim are weapons built from the remnants of the very people the world government once deemed dangerous. Now, the chance that the Seraphim learn this truth is very slim, given the fact that the existence of the Lunarians is not common information to begin with. But all it would take is to come into contact with one person that does have that information. And in this case, this person is the information. Again, I want to elaborate, the chances of this happening is very slim, but if the Seraphim were to come in contact with King on any random encounter, the possibility of them learning the truth is within reach. Now, King would more than likely hate the Seraphim for obvious reasons and would have no real reason to reveal the truth to them. But if he did, heavy emphasis on but, that could definitely cause some sort of internal conflict amongst the Seraphim, which could lead to problems with obedience and loyalty. Now, I don't think this will actually happen. Like I mentioned earlier, the chances for this to happen are still very slim, but the possibility for it is on the table. Oh, and by the way, if you're still watching, I really appreciate you. You are goated. Anyway, this last point I'd like to make is more of a personal observation of mine that I don't really think is valid, but I'm gonna throw it at the wall anyway, cause why not? So I feel like the biggest clue that Oda left behind that could suggest at the very least betrayal from the Seraphim is the existence of Stussy. Stussy was first introduced to us in chapter 860 during the Whole Cake Island arc, as one of Big Mom's guests, under the assumption that she is the queen of the Pleasure District from the underworld. But then 11 chapters later, during chapter 871, it's revealed to the reader that she's actually an intelligence agent for CP0. And if you remember in my last video, I said the Navy figured they could control the pirate world by having their hand in the pirate world. And the same thing applies here, but this time with the world government having their hand in the underworld. The world government used Stussy as their way to gain information from areas where they have no reach. Alright, cool. So she's actually a CPO agent. Nice twist, Oda. But the real twist came years later in chapter 1072 when Stussy, as a CP0 agent, betrays Kaku and Lucci, while it's also simultaneously revealed to the reader that she was actually a clone the entire time. The first successful clone from the Maz experiment, who just so happens to be loyal to Vegapunk. And who is she a clone of exactly? A former member of the Rocks Pirates, Buckingham Stussy. Now we don't know which of the 4 scientists that formed the Maz group got the most credit for the successful cloning experiment, but it's telling that her loyalty is to Vegapunk. So Vegapunk helped clone a famous pirate, and said clone went on to work for the world government, only to later betray the world government. Not saying it's fact, but the Seraphim are clones of several famous pirates that currently work for the world government. And if I'm on the right track, I shouldn't be surprised if the Seraphim betray the world government in the future. But these are just my thoughts, not an official theory. But I'd love to hear yours. Do you think the Seraphim will betray the world government, or will they stay loyal to their creators? And once again, if you made it this far in the video, I want to say thank you. I'm not able to upload as frequently as I want to, but any support that I get is greatly appreciated. Feel free to like the video and subscribe to the channel, and just like last time, I will catch you on the next one. Call me out.